What's up, everybody? Back here with episode 56 of the Pitside podcast. This is your week 13 episode, so we've got all kinds of interesting information, and we'll get into some of the extra details about next season here in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Pitside podcast, where we discuss the latest news and developments in the Coast to Coast Racing League, as well as other racing news inside and out of iRacing. Here's your host, the A-Let Outlaw, Preston Cranmer, and Roger, the Bass Man, Craig.
So not only is it week 13, but it is also Tuesday while we're recording this, which is iRacing Update Day. And today was a pretty interesting update day. Obviously, the download comes out, everybody starts downloading, and I was getting a few messages about how long it was taking. And then it finished, and everybody goes to go in, and iRacing still won't load. And iRacing, I guess their Amazon servers on the East Coast, their web service servers had gone down. And so iRacing was down up until about maybe 6:30, almost 7 o'clock.
Yeah, so, this justifies the whole fun runs on week 13.
Yeah.
And that's why we do that. Monday night, well, other than Monday, because we know that the download doesn't happen until Tuesday or Wednesday if NASCAR is involved. But that it doesn't happen till then, and then you never know. You could be getting an emergency patch at 8 o'clock at night and blow everything out of the water, which almost happened tonight.
Yeah. So along with all these updates that have come out, we want to talk about. I'm going to take just a second here and talk about all the dirt updates that came out.
You done?
And there you have it. So we got jack all this time.
Yeah.
They updated the 305 setups, which we needed that, I guess. But that was just about it. There were a couple of patch adjustments, but
they made some adjustments to the street stocks that we saw tonight, where as Hein was complaining in the Enduro that his tire went through his hood about 3 times. I think they patched that, but Terry Landis got a flat tire when he hit the wall tonight.
Yeah, and I actually heard him mention earlier in practice. We weren't really talking about it, but I just heard he said, "Oh, somebody's tire came off." So there must be an update to the damage model, because he said he was watching the tire and he swerved and hit the wall. So we got a pretty good laugh out of that. But yeah, I didn't see much of that. Actually, I'm not sure that my graphics were turned to the proper levels to see all that, because guys were talking about there being tire marks on their cars too. I think Andy Patton mentioned he had tire marks on his roof.
On his roof, the numbers were gone.
Yeah, so it sounds like there was some beating and banging towards the back too. But
so we had a couple of really cool races tonight. We had the ultimate. We changed the name from winners and losers to Ultimate Champion. And the first heat, we didn't have a lot of cars. I'll admit that, because it was just the upgrade had the reconnection had just happened really just before it. So we didn't have a lot of car counts. But hey, they went 50 laps, caution free. So hats off to those guys, And those are what we call the losers, but no, they were the winners tonight.
So that means there was an ultimate loser then, no?
Well, there was, and I think somebody was talking about that they were, and I'm not going to mention the name.
Okay, so I didn't know if we were going to put Nathan on blast or not, but so then followed the Ultimate Champion race, or the winners race. So the winner of the losers race, excuse me, that's not polite. The previous race qualified for the next race.
Qualifier.
Yeah, there you go. And so So that went pretty well. I know I was in the first heat, and the racing, even in the heat when the track wasn't very worn out, was really good. There's lots of passing, not a lot of can't really throw slide jobs in those cars, but so much. A few guys tried, but it was a competitive race all around. I think
it was a real good race, and not without controversy. This is almost like the Kevin Harvick thing, with 3 laps to go. Steven Spies got doored pretty good by whoever the guy that turned out to be the Ultimate Champion. And kudos to you, buddy. You finished P2.
Yeah, you what?
You're the second closest Ultimate Champion.
So I did not know. Well, I guess that makes me the first loser too. But
first loser.
I did not know there were updates to the street stock. So I'm usually not real good at them, but I felt extremely comfortable, and I just felt like I was nailing the throttle control all the time, and it just kind of worked. I think P1 in practice. I didn't do great in qualifying. No, I finished. I got the pole. My first lap was junk. And then couldn't really pass a lot in the heat. We were battling towards the end, but then the feature is just kind of motoring along and just hung it up front. I think that was the key, really, is if you could start up front, you could avoid some of the junk going on in the mid pack. So that helped a lot.
Yeah. But so and during that race, Andy Patton made a comment like, "Geez, with this fuel in the car, we could do 200 laps." And I'm thinking, I was looking at fuel, we could probably do 250. So stay tuned, folks.
I'd be all about that. I think that'd be a load of fun.
And all I got to do is just say to John Hine, will these things do 250? And then, 2 or 3 hours later, he'll be like, wound up in VR for 250 laps. Yep, they'll do them.
Yeah. So if you haven't heard from Roger yet, John, you're on assignment. So let us know.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that could be something coming. Yeah, down the pipe. Because,
it'd be fun.
Street stocks once in a while are fun. They're absolute riot. We had the enduro after the last podcast, and that was an absolute blast. It was just a crazy race, and Mike Schultz won it. But yeah, it was belly laughs all the way. It was some real competitive racing, and then it started to go down. Every team was, you started to realize. I know there was a bunch of us in the room. All the old guys. And we realized that we couldn't really block. So we had a guy up in third or fourth, John Rayner. And the only way we could get him to the front was to take the top three out. And evidently on the last lap, Andy Patton, he had the lead for a brief period of time at the end. And he said there was like 4 or 5 cars just parked in turn 4 waiting for him to come around.
Yeah, that's a little bit against the spirit of the enduro, but sometimes it happens,
Well, you know what? Everybody had a great time, and the last race of the year, what a great stress reliever that was. It was just everybody had a good time. We had, I think, 29 cars, and it was good. And everybody made the feature. I had it set. I don't know, whatever the track would hold.
Yeah,
we were gonna run. So,
that's
anyways,
cool.
Yeah. So.
And we move on to a new track next season.
We move on to a new track. So,
has that vote concluded?
Oh yeah, it was a landslide victory for Volusia Speedway. The first track you and I were ever at together without even knowing it.
Yep.
But so I think it's going to prove to be a good track. We're running it all this week, and it just turned out the championship night on Monday night was all run there, and there was some good racing.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I think it's going to be a good choice, and maybe eventually Iracing will give us another dirt track, but for now it's Volusia. So that's going to be cool.
Yeah,
it's going to be cool. Hey, and speaking of cool, championship night we were stuck. Marty Zacala took his dad to the Bills game, froze his ass off, I'm sure. Met Brett. Was it Brett Warner? I'm trying to remember his first name now. The quarterback in the Hall of Fame.
Kurt Warner.
Kurt Warner. I'm sorry. Yeah. So, anyways, and unfortunately, the Bills lost. But we were desperate, and Andy Piercefield, who's been putting together a broadcast team, they were really talking to them today. Like they were really targeting February. I said about them coming out a week early. They were actually looking to do this in February. So they moved it up to start our season, and then we had this spot we needed filled, and I thought they did an admirable job, man. Andy said like 6:30. He wasn't sure this thing was going to happen. He was like, it's the first time right out of the box, and so that I thought they pulled it off, man. It was good.
Yeah, they definitely their production is equivalent to guys that have been doing this for a while. So they're off on the right step, and we know Andy, and we know it'll just keep getting better and better.
That's going to just get better. Yeah, and I think you had a real good time. So other than the stress part, he was getting pretty stressed there.
Yeah, but, and I mean we did tried our hand at recording a couple of times, and there's a lot of stress involved. There's a lot going on behind the scenes that. You don't even really think about it until you're right there trying to do it and you're trying to keep up.
And in fairness, you and I did most sport. It was the Skippy cars.
Yeah.
not it's just the road racing thing. It's just that it's a different cadence. It's pretty laid back, where the intensity of dirt cars is just crazy. So I'm excited about this whole season. There's lots of good things happening, and the broadcasters really happy with all of that too. So it should be a real good season.
Yep, I think so too. But tomorrow, we've got some new stuff starting up, right? So we've got Hawkeye Qualifiers.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar with this, if you've just been in league a little while, we've done this the past 2, maybe 3 seasons. I can't recall. Yeah.
We've done it twice.
Yeah. So this is a tradition from Boone County Speedway. And they do what's called the Hawkeye Challenge, and they run multiple classes at the same time. Now, we have to do it a little bit differently because of some limitations with iRacing, but what they do is they actually figure out like an average lap time and to determine the number of laps each class would have to run to get to the finish line. What we do is we run 6 different classes at the same time, and then each class has a division winner. Obviously, there's an ultimate winner on the standing sheet, but that usually, typically, depending on the track, of course, but it's usually you're going to see the 305 sprints there. But tomorrow, Wednesday night, which will have already happened, I guess, was the Legends Street Stocks and UMP qualifying. So you'll have to pay attention out for the starting list. That'll be on a Hometown Heroes night this season. And
it won't be. It typically it's the first week, but it won't be because we got the pro lates running off of bouncing off of Cody Early's schedule. So it won't be until about week 4 or 5 that we'll have that Hawkeye Challenge. But these are the qualifiers, and guys like me, it's too late now. But the smart guys that are like back runners need to be out on Wednesday night, because there's a whole strategy there where some guys may win in a legend, and then they'll win in a 305 or like the top 4 of a pro late. They'll take the pro late. So, the slower cars will get left. We'll go down who finished the next. So they're going to be available. And it's kind of like they pay the same as the 305. Right. If you win the legend race, so everybody gets a dog tag. We did this last season, and then everybody gets a dog tag. And a league dog tag is personalized on the other side, and it's pretty cool. And so, the guy that wins the Legends is going to get the same thing as the guy that wins the 305. So it's for the back runners, it's great to be out there and get involved.
And just to expand on what you're saying, because we may not have mentioned this, it's the top 4 in each division qualifier that makes the final race. But what Roger's saying is that if one of the Legends guys that finished in the top 4 elects to run 305s instead, the next guy up, and whoever finished in 5th, will have the opportunity to jump up. So that's why it pays. If you don't even think you're going to finish in the top 5, it still may be worth to get out there and turn some laps.
Like I think Legends or Street Stock, one of them, the top 4 went somewhere else. So like it was like 5 to 8 in a Street Stock race. So I'm telling you, man, I was a dark horse in that one.
And Volusia is going to be a really cool track to have this at. The racing line is very similar for all the cars. I think we've seen at other tracks. Now, I don't want to say all the cars, because the UMPs will vary quite a bit, and there'll be a few differences, but the middle gets really fast in just about every class. So come the end of that race, you're going to see some traffic jams probably, where the faster cars are trying to get around the slower cars on the quickest line. So it'll be really entertaining to see.
And we can't forget, the 305s. It's dicey if they got enough fuel to finish. So
right.
There's another strategy with the 305s, that they're definitely the faster car, but we had guys run out of fuel several times, and so it's part of the race.
Yeah, I believe it was Blake Chapman that won last season, and it was a game within that race, because you saw Blake, who faded back at the beginning of the race because he knew there was a fuel concern, and he saved all his fuel to the end and made a run, and I think he took the lead on like the last lap or the second to last lap. It was a cool event.
Yeah. So stay tuned for Hawkeye Challenge 3 coming to you soon. With VGN Virtual Grip Network and Hometown Heroes.
Yeah, so if you, again, just mention the things, if you're not familiar, Virtual Grips come on to do Hometown Heroes for the entirety of this season. You've probably seen them a couple of times already. We've done a couple of special events with them, but they're coming on in full capacity, and they're bringing some new innovations. They'll be getting us on iRacing on Wednesday nights, which is a huge bonus, especially for Hometown Heroes, because that's, I think, got the most, out of everything we do, probably got the most, I don't know what you call it. It'll draw viewers the best. So that'll be cool. And they also have the Zoom call, which we may have mentioned that last week as well. But drivers can enter the Zoom call, and they can actually be interviewed either in the middle of the race, or if at the end of the race you're getting interviewed, you can be on camera rather than just audio. So that's some new stuff that we're bringing to the table.
And Marty's already jumped on that bandwagon too, and he's been using it. And once Andy sees that the other two are doing it, you know that's going to happen once he gets all the other buttons figured out and everything going there.
It's one of the things I really like about the group we've got right now, because there's no hesitation. It doesn't seem like a competition. They're working together.
Yep.
They're sharing tips and stuff. It's cool to see. I think they're going to make each other better, as well as making our league better.
Yep. And that was Joe White always did that too. He was very good at sharing information and helping guys out, and it's been good all along. And the other guy we haven't mentioned, speaking of Joe's, is Joe Halter. Joe Halter will be doing.
You're right.
Well, he's going to be doing the recruiting race on Tuesday, and then he's going to be doing Friday Night Excitement with Icon Sim Sports. He'll be broadcasting that from a different perspective, from the drivers and admin's point of view. So it should be pretty interesting.
Yeah, maybe we had to talk to him about Topless Tuesday as well.
Well, yeah, you never know. He has a hard time saying no to anything you ask him to do. So.
Oh, well, that's even better. We'll just book it.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
hey,
go ahead.
We got all these champions, we could probably just say Blake Chapman and Nick Vickery, and we're almost done.
It's a good point. They cleaned up this season.
Both of them won three divisions. So anyway, do you want to go through those, buddy?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Monday nights, our Renegades, our top-tier sprint car division, Blake Chapman won again. No surprise there. I think this is a repeat win for him, right? Or did he?
Is it?
He won once before, but there may have been one in between.
No, because Goldner won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
So
okay.
He won last year. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Rebels, we had Nicholas Vickery, as Roger mentioned, he won that. And Raiders, no surprise with Sean Bowers, so he had a pretty predictable performance down there in Raiders, I think. Topless Tuesday was my teammate Terry Landis. I know he's been pretty pumped up, had a couple extra yoo-hoos this week.
1 point. One point he won by.
And he was really paying a lot of attention to that. He actually went back and looked at the different races and the point values, trying to figure out where he earned that point. Yeah. And he was telling me that there was one race, I think it was week 4 or 5, where he and Jack raced to the line, and he beat Jack to the line by like 12 hundredths of a second.
There's your difference right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
And, poor Jack Hitt. Jack Hitt has finished second 3 years in a row.
I know.
So it's I felt bad for him. And so Jack, I'm looking for volunteers for stuff. Jack Hitt just volunteered to help out to make sure that the midgets. He wants one more kick at this can to see if he can pull it off. So
I'm going to do my best to stop him.
And Jack was very gracious in defeat, I guess you could say, because at one point he thought he had maybe won, and it's good on Jack, and that was a well fought series, like right to the end. But 12 100ths of a second separating the two guys, like that's crazy. So good on both of them, and congratulations to Terry. He hasn't won a championship in a few years now. He really
was all hyped up. It was pretty cool.
I saw a few post race pictures of him. He had been in how do you say that?
Celebration mode. Yeah.
Yeah, celebratory mode.
Yeah, there you go.
It was he's pretty chilled, to say the least.
Yeah. I think they get it.
Yeah.
So on Wednesdays we had Hometown Heroes, the 305 divisions, which ran at 7 o'clock. Again, Nicholas Vickery won that. And then our 360 Hometown Heroes division was Kyle Moonen. Then small blocks, Blake Chapman won that one. This is on Thursday, our small block modifieds.
Yep.
And then our big block modifieds, which if you don't know this, is actually big blocks and small blocks you can choose. I think I mentioned that last week, actually. Nicholas Vickery won that as well. And then pro late models, I think he would probably consider himself a late model specialist. So Steven Spees won that. I'm sure he was real excited. Another gambler guy won our matinee 360 division, and Aiden Young. Then matinee 305s was Blake Chapman yet again. Matinee 358 modifieds, or the small blocks, was Greg Boydell. So congratulations, Greg. Matinee trucks and the Piston Cup were both Dan Blau. So our asphalt specialist, obviously, he's cleaning up. We just need to get him out for road runners to give Bob Light a little competition, because he won the championship yet again this year.
So and just while we're talking about that, Dan Blau, the Piston Cup, Tim Chapman is sponsoring that next season under the PA Posse, which I'm assuming is him and Zach. But Tim had the lead going into the last race, and I think it was Tim had drop weeks. I can't remember. One of them had drop weeks, one of them didn't. And Blau won the race and won the championship on that last.
Wow.
It was only a few points, like 6 or 7 points in the end. So well fought race there. So and we're going to next gen cars for next season. So that's going to be an interesting series. And then a couple more there that you've got to cover.
Yeah, I did miss retreads. Greg Boydell won that as well. So on top of the matinee small block
narrowly
series.
beating Jeff Barker. That was a battle all season long, and lots of races they were 1-2 different order. They're always running around the track 1-2, and everybody else chasing them. So congratulations to Greg. And Jeff finished second. And if you remember, Jeff was a bridesmaid for a number of seasons. He finished second.
Yeah, behind Terry, and he did it during the races too. If I recall correctly, in our first or second season, he had finished second place in the races like 8 or 9 times in a row.
Yes, it was. Yeah, that's what it was. It was in the races. It wasn't the season. It was in the races. He finished second. He had not won a feature for a long time.
Yep.
But no, that was a good series. And then Roadrunners.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Bob Light cleaned house again. So somebody has got to come out there and beat this guy. Now, we are switching back next season to the Skip Barbers and the Formula Vs. So we've been running the Rileys and the what was the other one? It was another road car.
Mark, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but we are going back to the Formula Vs and the Skip Barbers, which were real popular. So there will be split.
And I saw Bob Light, I think, spin out in a Formula V on one race. I went around the corner, and here's Bob Light on the inside of the. What the hell's going on here? So it's might be a bit of a challenge there. So, but anyways, for those that don't do that, come out. Those are just both fun cars. But man, the Formula Vs, and they're all going to be on little short tracks, which I love, because if I'm running the back, I can still see everybody on the track, just looking around. So it's a cool deal.
So just talking about road races for a minute, I'm going to steal just a minute just for something that I really enjoyed, was the new Formula One, the Mercedes car. Now, I'm a big F1 guy, not a Mercedes fan by any means, but I did pick it up, and I'm telling you what, it is one of the most fun road cars out there. It's fairly easy to drive. So I'm planning over the next couple of weeks at some point. I've got a week off around Christmas. So I might put together a Formula One race, probably at Red Bull Ring, if anybody wants to get out to practice. It's not too technical a track. And we'll see how many guys we can get out there to run them. But they're pretty easy. They stick to the track real well. You can really fly around there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, that was one of the big, I guess, iRacing events. Was that?
I know I wasn't paying attention. I didn't even realize it was coming out today.
John Hines said he was going to take it up Mount Washington, but I don't know how that worked out, or if he actually did or not.
Yeah.
He was busy seeing how many laps he could get out of that street stock for me for that race. So I'm not sure if he ever did get back into the F1.
Yeah. Yeah. So the Outlaw Rosters have been put together, and they're out already. If you're watching this on Sunday, they're already out. So if you haven't seen that, that's one very important thing. If you're racing on Monday nights, it's your job to know which division you're in, and you also need to know the rules that are required to transfer. So those are in the release notes. But Roger, can you cover off again what the IL limits are there?
So the IL limits are for Renegades is .0200. The Rebels is 225. And the Raiders is 250. Now, the new things this year is, in the past, say a Raider wanted to he finished the top 10 for that night and wanted to transfer into the Rebels, he had to be 225. He had to be at the Rebels level. We've changed that this year, where he just has to be within the limits of the threshold of his own division. Same with the Rebels. If they want to race in
Renegades.
The Renegades, they just have to be below 225. So that should get the car counts up a little bit and give more guys a chance to transfer. On the other side, too, just to remember, is at mid-season, we'll still do promotions like we have, but we'll also do demotions. And I think the thresholds are pretty heavy. I think it was it 300, 400, and 500 or something like that, or 275. Yeah. So it's if you're driving crazy, then you're going to go down a division at mid-season. So that's just just the way it is, and keep it clean.
Yeah, six races in, you should have had enough clean races to cancel out any bad ones. Because if you're at that point, the majority of them are bad ones, and there's something else going on. Along those same lines, the first 3 weeks, though, because we're starting fresh, our IL resets at the beginning of every season.
Yep.
Those thresholds to transfer don't exist. So what that does is protect. If that one bad race that happens to you happens week 1, it's not going to keep you from transferring.
Yeah.
So it's the first 2 weeks, and then week 3 is when the IL thresholds kick in.
Yeah. The first 2 weeks are anybody. All 10 can transfer.
Right.
So and just before we leave that, the Renegades, I'm really interested in seeing next season. They this is every season. You keep saying it. It's the best racing we've ever seen. But it's going to be interesting. Blake Chapman's done really, really well. There's a bunch of young guys, new guys. Not new guys. Like Fernberg's up there. New faces at the top.
Yeah.
But like Moonen's back. He should be back full time. Goldner's back full time. So it's going to be interesting to see if Blake can, hold his own, and Lane will be there. So it's going to be a good season in Renegades. I think it's going to be a lot closer than it was this season.
Yeah, and at the time of recording this, we're still just at the very end of finalizing those rosters. Obviously, we mentioned that they're out, but I will say I felt like this season is one of the first seasons where things have cycled out just the right way for the most part. There's always outliers because things happen, but the rosters seem just about right. There's nobody that's raced above or below their ability and ended up somewhere that they shouldn't be.
No, the only exceptions to that would be a few guys who have been away for a few seasons.
Yeah, of course.
Like the Sean Bowers, I'm thinking, and so you go back to the bottom. If you've been away. Yeah. And you got to work your way up. So I mean, he's working his way up. He's been pretty impressive and dominant. But but you're right. Everybody's kind of found their level, and it's made for good racing and some consistency across the divisions too.
It's something we don't think about a lot because we've been doing it for so long, but we really have this ladder system as something we started early on, and have had to make very few tweaks to it. We've added kind of elements of things here and there, but for the most part it's the same as when we started. So I think we really stumbled on to something really way back when. Yeah,
I know Cody was doing the broadcast there with Danny and eSpeed TV, and he was really impressed with the racing. But he noticed, he started asking me in the Rebels, okay, I'm seeing the lap times are better. There's differences in these divisions, and he was asking how it all worked, and I was explaining to him, and he says, has anybody ever done the whole ladder? And I said, hey, last week Sean Bowers, he did it. So it's which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool when somebody can I think Brown, I can't remember his first name now. He only raced a few times with us, but first night out he had he started in Raiders, worked his way up to Renegades, had the quick time, and had the pole, and ended up getting taken out or hitting a wall or something. But he was ready to run it first night out. So it's it's a cool thing. And,
Yeah.
keeps
Well,
everybody on their toes.
that might be something that works well for Cody's series too, because he's got a similar dynamic as far as the way his league's set up in a kind of community way. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see them open up kind of a B division to their pro late model division.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be good.
So,
what else we got here, buddy?
Well, the always, the pastors never want to preach about it, but we got to talk about money, right?
Yes. So the Drivers Fund, we introduced it last season. It's been highly successful. I mean, guys have been posting their feature stickers all over cats, dogs, you name it. Everybody wants to get in. Now, Donovan Ross just posted his mug, and then there was all the abuse on the thread that followed that. And
I haven't seen that yet.
Oh yeah, you got to check that one out. But and it's all cool. But the interesting thing is, like we've done, all the trophies. Andy does those for cost. So, but there's that cost. There's shipping. Of course, shipping was higher this year because Jamie McCarran, we had to ship one off to Australia. But the interesting thing the other day was, we do it, and we did the dog tags and all that sort of stuff. The other day we had to send Andy the shipping money for the trophies, and I was $1 short. It's the end of the season. We were $1 short in the fund, so we kind of got that figured out just about right.
Yeah.
With the money, it'd be nice to build up the coffers a little bit, just to have a bit of a kitty there, but that so that money it's all used, and so it's there's a lot of expenses that go with the league, and that was it's been successful. So today is Sunday when you see this, and your dues are due. Everybody knows about it now. We're not given a 3-week time because that was new at the time. You have till the end of the week. If you don't have your money in, Bill Calder will be removing you from the league. And sometimes I wonder if he
get some satisfaction out of it.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like he's just dying to hit the delete switch or something. But it's
itchy trigger finger.
Don't deal with Bill. Like you don't want to mess with Bill. So
Bill takes no prisoners.
Because what will happen is you'll be removed from the league. You can reapply and all the rest of that stuff, but you could lose your number. And I know there's already. I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to name the numbers. There's already guys saying like, "Is this guy still in the league? I'd like his number." So I'm telling you right now, don't wait because you could lose it. If that's a coveted number, it could be gone.
Yeah.
So, anyways, enough about that. So. What else we got to cover here?
You know what? I think that's about it. It's it's wacky week 13, and I'm ready to go turn some more laps in that F1 car. So I think we ought to jet and get some practice in for something that we don't even race, because that's helpful. But it'll be fun.
And I guess and we've got a lot of special guests coming up here. That we're going to have on. We've just been doing you and me because there's just so much happening that we haven't had time to really prep for other stuff, but we got some new sponsors on board, so we'll be bringing them in to talk. Really appreciate everything that people are doing, and we still got some open spots, that's for sure. And so it's got to cover that broadcasting, or we won't be able to broadcast.
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And I should have mentioned this earlier in the episode, but I was checking out some of the analytics for our viewers, and it said something like 87% of our viewers are not subscribed to the channel. So you guys got to go hit that like button. Yeah. So make sure, or there's a little bell and a subscribe button. Make sure you hit those, because you'll get this notification as soon as the episode goes up. Which this last week was a little bit delayed. We had some technical issues, but it's usually up about 8 a.m. on Sunday morning. And then you also get notified anytime the races go live as well, so you can check those out in case you want to. It's a really easy way, even if you're racing. If you want to go back and watch it later, just have a notification clicked on your phone, and you can go back and watch it. That's exactly what I do. So
we don't post the links anymore. We post the link to the C2C Racing Network, and we're expecting people to hit the subscribe. Otherwise, you might miss some valuable stuff, like the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. I
don't wanna
mean,
miss
if
a
you're
podcast.
watching right now, there's no reason you shouldn't click that
Yeah.
button. I guess it's like right here, or
it
no,
was up here
I think you
somewhere.
got to do it, Roger. Anyway,
Yeah.
nonetheless, click that button for us. It's not going to hurt you, and it does nothing but help us. So we'd appreciate it, and we appreciate you watching every week. We'll be back here for episode 57 next week, and we will see you then.
Who's 57? Kyle Larson.
There you go, Kyle.
Red car.
You going to get him on the show?
I'm working on it.
All right, we'll see what we can do. Get hold of Glenn Stiers.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe we can do it. See you next week.
Okay. Yeah. Take care, everybody.